1 in 6 U.S. children ages 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder each year, and many are still not receiving the necessary care. So joining us today is Dr. Christine M. Crawford, Associate Medical Director for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and she's also the author of You Are Not Alone for Your Parents and Caregivers. So welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, what are some tips for parents who are concerned about their children's mental health?
Yeah, I tell all parents that they should start to notice their kid and to see if there are any changes in their mood and behavior and to see if there's a pattern of those changes that seem to be happening over the course of a period of time. And if you happen to notice these subtle changes, to be curious with your kid about what might be driving some of those changes, to start a conversation with them and to say, well, I've noticed that you seem less interested in hanging out with your friends, or I've noticed that you've been a little bit more on the moodier side of things. What do you think is behind that? And so I really encourage all parents, all caregivers to point out some of those changes, to try to engage in a conversation with your kid from a place of curiosity rather than making assumptions about why your kid is acting and behaving in a certain way.
And what advice would you give parents unsure if their child's behavior is typical or needs intervention?
I mean, that's the hard thing about parenting is that it's hard to know if this is typical behavior or is this is suggestive of a more serious issue. And so what I tell parents is to use this concept or to think about this concept that I refer to as the distress radius. So are you seeing issues related to this change in mood and behavior that's impacting the kid's ability to function in multiple areas and aspects of their life? Is this something that you're only seeing at home? Or is this spreading out into what you're noticing at school? Are you noticing this in how they are interacting with their friends and other family members? Are you seeing this interfering with their academic success? So if you start to see that problems are starting to impact other areas of your kid's life, that's typical for usual behavior, but maybe a signal and sign that things aren't going well with your kid and they may need some more help and support.
And tell us about your new book, You Are Not Alone for Parents and Caregivers.
Yeah. So what we know to be true is that kids are struggling and parents are struggling with understanding how they can best support their kid and how to navigate the mental health system. And as a psychiatrist, but also a mother of two, I know how difficult it is to deal with kids who are experiencing depression or anxiety. So this book is a comprehensive guide that covers mental health challenges in kids as young as 3 all the way up to age 18. I talk about how do you talk to your kid about their mental health? How do you understand some of the unique aspects of your kid's brain and how it is that they interact with the world? And then I go through all the different mental health conditions, depression, trauma, anxiety, and how that can look differently over the course of a child's development. I also interviewed over 80 people with lived experience. So that's adults, teachers, caregivers, grandparents, as well as kids themselves who share their own pieces of wisdom and advice for the readers so that they know that they are not alone in this mental health journey.
And where can we go to find out more information?
Yes, so people can go to NAMI.org/book, and that's NAMI.org/book. And they can learn more about NAMI, but also there are links to where they can purchase the book.
Dr. Crawford, thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.